Oprah Winfrey recently did an interview where she lectured America about white privilege and let everyone know, regardless of how much wealth a black person accumulates or how little wealth a white person accumulates, that white person still has the benefits of white privilege.
There are white people who are not as powerful as the system of white people, the caste system that's been put in place, but they still, no matter where they are on the rung or the ladder of success, they still have their whiteness.
Did you hear that? No matter where they are on the rung or the ladder of success, they still have white privilege. That means a white person that grew up poor as hell in a trailer park with a mom that is a crack whore and a dad that is in prison has less privilege than the kids of LeBron James or the potential offspring of Oprah Winfrey. I say this because she doesn't have any kids, but if she did, they would have less privilege being born into the family of a billionaire black woman than if you're a white person growing up in a trailer park. That white person has more privilege than the person that has generational wealth, that doesn't have to lift another finger for the rest of their life and will die a billionaire if they do absolutely nothing. Because if that's how white privilege works, then I don't want it. I would rather have that black privilege where I could not lift a finger and be a billionaire. And it's like, then she goes on to say a bunch of other crazy things in this interview, talks about how white people are in charge of the system, how white people are all in the power positions. It's like she was in a coma for the 8 years that Barack Obama is president. And you see what's happening right now with Joe Biden. He's enacting some sort of affirmative action in choosing his vice presidential candidate. Because the most important characteristics, the most important two check boxes in choosing the VP for Joe Biden is that she is black and that she is, in fact, a woman. Which, that's kind of a hard one for me because I thought gender was just a social construct, but somehow, I guess it's not when you're making sure that you choose a woman, I guess someone who identifies as a woman. I'm sure the left will explain that one eventually. But in any event, imagine if it was the other way around. Imagine if Joe Biden said that I'm going to choose a vice president and the two most important characteristics, the two things I'm going to make sure that I choose my vice president based on are that they are a white male. Imagine if he said that. Imagine if you literally just flipped it in reverse. Instead of black woman, flipped it to white male. The world would explode. Racism would be out of control. And this is an ever-evolving definition, morphing definition of white privilege. The same thing we saw happen to racism and systemic racism, how they kept morphing and changing the definition to make sure that everyone could be racist. You're racist if you don't put on a Black Lives Matter shirt on the weekends and you don't have a Black Lives Matter banner on the website for your company, then you're a racist. That was the ever-changing, morphing definition of racism, and they're doing the same thing with white privilege. I was told that white privilege was that white people are just more likely to be born into families with economic opportunity. Not all white people have white privilege, right? They're at least somewhat reasonable, and they would say things like, well, of course, LeBron James's kids would have more privilege than the white people that grew up in the trailer park. But no, not anymore, not according to Oprah Winfrey. Now, every white person has white privilege in the ever-evolving, morphing definition. Because before, it was more of like a wealth privilege, right? It was if you white people are just more likely to have more money, so it was a wealth privilege. I would argue this is called stereotyping, when you make broad generalizations based off patterns and trends within a group, but I digress, right? So now, not only does white privilege include, I guess, white people that grew up with more economic opportunity than black people, but it also includes white people who grew up with less economic opportunity. I mean, I would love to be lectured. I would love to be lectured by Oprah Winfrey, who is a multi-billionaire black woman, on white privilege. And for some reason, she is withholding the secrets. A lot of people don't realize just how arrogant this comes off. There is an arrogance. It's almost like she's a sore winner. I compare this. Imagine you have an Olympic athlete that wins the Olympics, and then immediately, right in the interview, subsequently after, says, I was hurt, I was injured, and not only did I win, not only am I the greatest athlete on the planet in my specific sport, but all of the judges, all the refs were all against me. The system was rigged against me, and I'm still number one. That's called being a sore winner. That's called being an arrogant asshole. And that's how Oprah comes off, as she is richer than almost every white person on the planet. And not only is she richer than every white person, but she did so dragging ankle weights this entire time. How freaking arrogant can you be? And why doesn't she help other black people navigate those big, angry orange cones of systemic racism and tell them how they can also become a billionaire in a racist and oppressive society, rather than just yelling and lecturing at all the white people and telling them how much white privilege they have as she looks down at them from the hilltops of her mansion? Anyway, that's my video. Hope you liked it. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe, and I will see you all next time.